So the Strikeforce Women's 135-pound title will be up for grabs next Saturday night, and two ladies who would love to face the winner are set to do battle next as former champion, the hard-hitting Sarah Kaufman, squares off with former U.S. Marine Liz "Gorilla" Carmouche.
And now for our next bout, making her way to the cage, weighing in at 135 pounds. Her record stands at 6 wins and 1 loss, with 4 knockouts and 1 submission to her credit. She's a freestyle fighter out of San Diego, California. Introducing Liz "Gorilla" Carmouche.
Liz "Gorilla" Carmouche, born in the United States, spent most of her first 2 decades of life in Okinawa, Japan, where father was stationed in the Air Force. At the age of 20, she joined the Marine Corps, where she spent over 5 years achieving the rank of sergeant and came very close to pulling off a major upset in her last outing when she was given the opportunity to dethrone Marloes Coenen.
She really did. In that last fight, Liz Carmouche bravely stepped into the cage on short notice and challenged Marloes Coenen for her 135-pound title. Carmouche stepped right to the champion and engaged her in the trenches, pressing the attack throughout. To the shock of many, Carmouche had now taken control of the fight and began to dominate the champion. Carmouche constantly pushed the pace and repeatedly took Coenen down and roughed her up until the former Marine made one mistake, then found herself trapped in a triangle choke in round 4. Marloes Coenen may have retained her belt with a come-from-behind victory, but Liz Carmouche gained respect. And even though Liz Carmouche did so well on the ground against Coenen, she may just take the opposite approach here tonight.
I think stand-up, I have the biggest edge on Sarah. Not just, I don't just punch, I don't just kick. I counter everything, I work around it, and I evaluate the fighter. So I think that's probably my best chance to stand up.
And in a bit of a surprise during the fighter meeting, she told us she wanted to break Kaufman's orbital bone. Yikes!
Wow, that's violent.
And her opponent across the cage weighed in at 135 pounds. She'll be fighting out of the red corner with an impressive record of 13 wins and only 1 loss, with 10 knockouts to her credit. She's a freestyle fighter out of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sarah Kaufman.
Sarah Kaufman, the former Strikeforce Women's 135-pound champion, 4-1 in the promotion, coming off a win in her native of Victoria, British Columbia after losing the title to Marloes Coenen. She told us, Stephen, that she may be too analytical, too technical, and we all know overanalysis leads to paralysis. Liz Carmouche could definitely be a stiff test in that regard.
And she's basically got to let things fly. And of course, the last time we saw Sarah Kaufman on Showtime, she was defending her championship belt against Holland's finest female MMA fighter, the venerable Marloes Coenen. And Kaufman established her striking from the get-go, peppering throughout with punches and kicks. But the savvy Coenen succeeded in getting the fight where she wanted it, on the ground. Kaufman defended the northbound submission attempts and landed punches in return. But Coenen's guard game was persistent and aggressive. Then Kaufman, her many hammer fists seemed to find their mark until Coenen quickly trapped a limb and made Kaufman tap from an armbar. Sarah Kaufman has learned a valuable lesson in the loss to the great Marloes Coenen and has plans to put that new knowledge to good use here tonight against a very tough Liz Carmouche. And to be effective against the hard-charging Liz Carmouche, Sarah Kaufman plans on going old school.
Tonight I'm looking to come into the cage and really fight. I want to make sure that I go back to how I used to fight when I got all my knockouts in a row. And that's putting on the pressure, throwing my strikes, mixing it up. You know, if I need to do a takedown, throwing a takedown. If I'm on the ground, be active and just really keep the pressure on and avoid getting stalled on the cage.
And now for the tail of the tape. Sarah Kaufman is 2 years the junior of Carmouche, and she has a 1-inch reach advantage. She'd love to use that to box tonight. Let's see if she gets the opportunity.
We're scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Our referee in charge, Josh Rosenthal.
Bays, you ready? You ready? Let's fight.
A possible title shot up for grabs. This female women's 135-pound bout is underway, and a quick start as Carmouche immediately goes for the tie plum on Kaufman, who backs her up into the fence, and this is where Kaufman warned Carmouche, you know, let's stay off the fence. Well, they're immediately on the fence, and turning the tables immediately is Carmouche.
Both these girls are really strong, you can tell. They're moving each other around, showing their muscle. Dynamite in little packages in this case.
And Carmouche delivered exactly what we thought she would. She came right out at Kaufman, walked right through her punches, and got her into the clinch. But Kaufman's the one that's keeping Carmouche against the fence.
Yeah, if you're going to be against the cage, it needs to be the other person.
Carmouche took the championship fight on very short notice when Miesha Tate was injured. Of course, Miesha Tate challenges Marlos Kunin for the title next Saturday night in Chicago here on Showtime. But these two now just jockeying for position, going back and forth, turning each other around on the fence. Kaufman, of course, wants that title back as well. But right now they need to see what they can do here against each other. And right now it's just a close quarters battle between Carmouche and Kaufman. There's a left uppercut by Kaufman. Some dirty boxing on the inside.
Yeah, and look at Kaufman digging her forehead in underneath Carmouche, and then Carmouche trying to dig back underneath. There's a lot of positioning going on there. Kaufman is able to do it better, and she's able to control position. She's worked on this a lot, you can tell.
After that amazing performance against Kunin, again taking her to the 4th round where she was ahead on all 3 judges' scorecards, 29-28. Carmouche had a very short training camp for that fight. She's had a full one for this fight, and so far so good. As she now, well, foot stomping on Kaufman.
And now Kaufman gets back into over-under control, because for a while there, Carmouche had double underhooks, and she was trying to grasp her hands together behind Kaufman's back and take her to the floor.
Nice job. Kaufman started to spin her, and she put her right back in. You're either going to lift your underhook or you're going to pull on that side to get out of there, one or the other, or you can do what's called a double lateral. Go one way and then back the other real quick, just like she tried there to get off the cage.
Knee up the middle by Carmouche. Kaufman has that left arm free. Now backs, oh, and there's an attempt at a throw, a judo throw by Carmouche, but ends up with Kaufman on her back. Has the no hooks in, however, and now Kaufman just looking to control Carmouche. Getting right up on her back, has the 1 hook in momentarily. Carmouche defending very well, however, very strong.
I think Kaufman was completely surprised to end up there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it could have been a disastrous situation for Carmouche should Kaufman have sunk both hooks in and gone for that choke.
Nice job fighting her way back out of that and getting faced off with her.
Now Carmouche dropping a level, looking for a takedown wide base by Kaufman. Has the underhook. Some foot stomps again by Carmouche. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the opening round.
And we thought this was going to be a shootout.
That's what they had
advertised, right?
Advertised. Kaufman said in an interview, I challenge Carmouche to stay off the fence. Well, they're both doing a good job of staying on the fence here at close quarters in the opening round.
Yeah, you know Carmouche took that as she doesn't want to be against the fence. That's exactly where we're going.
Minute and a half remaining in the first frame.
You know, when you're in there pummeling and battling for position like this, it's very exhausting on the shoulders, the biceps, triceps, tugging heavy on the head. Really wears the opponent out. And I think Carmouche is really doing a good job this first round to make sure Kaufman's punching muscles are tired.
Kaufman creates separation, backs out. Body kick by Carmouche, straight jab there by Kaufman. Ducks underneath the right hand from Carmouche. Now controlling the center of the cage, backing up, stepping off the line. Flashing the jab, looking to gauge the distance. And that's Kaufman's technique, coming straight forward with combinations. But Carmouche countering, misses with the right.
Carmouche is usually so aggressive, her defense really doesn't matter. But right now, Sarah has a good opportunity because Carmouche is leaving her chin a little bit high in the air when she charges forward. Sarah might be able to catch her with a straight right.
Now, the first 4 minutes of this fight was spent against the cage. Kaufman has got to get at it after her right now because they're not against the cage. She needs to use the boxing and land some punches, score some points.
There's a left hook kick combination delivered by Kaufman. Final 15 seconds left in the opening round. It's been a close first frame. Kaufman now looking to establish herself here with the distance, with the straight combinations. Carmouche misses with the right. Final 5 seconds, and now Kaufman tags her with the right hand, steps forward with the left, gets caught with a right of her own, and that's the end of the opening round.
Wow, you know, that's a tough round to score, but I'm going to go out on a ledge and say that Kaufman pulled it out at the end with a couple straight punches, but it was a lot of really close grappling up against the fence.
And of course, we want to welcome those brothers and sisters in arms who are watching on the American Forces Network. Of course, Liz Carmouche, a former U.S. Marine. We want to thank each and every one of you for all that you do, and we hope you're enjoying the fights tonight on AFN.
Such big movement, that's why we're missing, okay? Get aggressive on the punch and then step out.
We're always moving in after we finish those strikes, okay? After you finish, keep moving, okay?
Boom, boom, in.
Forward, don't hesitate on it. Forward, don't hesitate. It's because you're giving us one hesitation that you catch. Yeah, kind of dropping underneath. Stay long with those punches. And have a great night. Okay?
Awesome. Keep getting that air in. Deep breath.
Finally, she gets separation and tries to unload. There's Carmouche landing the right hand, a couple of them, and Kaufman coming back and really getting after her. You got to recognize if you're worried about getting taken down and you're not throwing punches, you're going to get taken down anyway. So do damage while you're standing.